Scattered, the podcast that's all over the map in the best way possible. From pro wrestling to pop culture, from mental health to the Buffalo Bills, and everything in between. If it's interesting, we're talking about it. And now, here's your host, the king of variety, the master of ADD, and the guy who proves being all over the place can be awesome, Brian Fink.
Welcome. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually keep all of that in here or not. I looked kind of like a dork, even more so than normal. But welcome to another exciting episode of Scattered. This is now our 6th episode. So hopefully we're starting to get an idea of what things look like for our show, for our community. I'm super excited, super pumped to be here this week. Last week was the most ambitious podcast I had done to date. We had the results from Survivor Series. We talked about the Bills. We talked about the kind of the community as a whole. I told you I'd go into some stuff about my health, and I'm going to start today with that. We're also going to have part 2 of the exciting interview with my wife, Cynthia, and we're going to dive more into life with cerebral palsy, life as a mother. We're going to have very controversial opinions today because we are going to talk about the best Christmas movies of all time and what quantifies and qualifies as a Christmas movie. And to help me with that, very special guest, my brother Matt is going to join us. Matt is of a certain philosophy about a movie that he calls a Christmas movie, and I will be taking counter argument and the correct argument, I might add, on the fact that this said movie, while one of my favorite movies, is not a Christmas movie. Send your hate mail to brianfinkscattered@outlook.com, but it is not a Christmas movie, so Matt is going to join me to talk about that. I gotta touch on that Rams-Bills game. Josh Allen played his heart out. He's a friggin' monster. He's a machine. And the defense just could not keep up. But there was nothing more that Josh Allen could have done. He was absolutely spectacular. This is a loaded show. If last week was our most ambitious episode, that was only to that date. Because I would venture to guess today is going to be even more ambitious, and I can't wait to be a part of it with you guys. So let's dive right in. All right, guys. So to start today, we're going to be kind of on a downer. We had a lot of fun last week. We're going to have a lot of fun today. But I told you guys I wanted to update you on my health conditions. So for those of you who know, I have been dealing with symptoms of long COVID. And this started actually 2 years ago. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the cdc.gov definition of long COVID and kind of their breakdown. And then I'm going to share my personal experience. And I want to do this for 2 reasons, guys. Number one, primary reason is if you're out there, if you've ever had COVID or the SARS-CoV-2, as they call it, maybe you are lucky and you had it once and it was gone. Maybe you're having some lingering effects that could be coming from it. I want to be able to provide you guys with some education on this. And also, this is a platform for sharing. I've said it a million times. I'll say it a million more times. This is a platform for me to share with you guys, and it's for you guys to share with me. So with that, I'm going to give you what the CDC says, and then I'm going to tell you my personal experience over the last 2 years and where I've been specifically this year since October, and I am now filming this the second week of December. So long COVID is a serious illness that can result in chronic conditions requiring comprehensive care and may cause disability. Long COVID can include a wide range of ongoing symptoms and conditions that can last weeks, months, or even years after COVID-19 illness. Anyone who had the SARS-CoV-2 infection the virus that causes COVID-19, can experience long COVID, including children. COVID-19 vaccination is the best available tool to prevent long COVID. Living with long COVID can be difficult and isolating, especially when there are no immediate answers or solutions. And that, guys, that's paramount. That last one, I'm going to read that again because this really hits close to home for me. Living with long COVID can be difficult and isolating, especially when there are no immediate answers or solutions. Okay, so here's my story, guys. 2 years ago, I was working and I was fine. Everything was great. Went out to eat with a buddy of mine. The next day, I got up. My heart was racing. I felt dizzy. I couldn't catch my breath. Automatically, I'm thinking, oh God, what happened to my heart? My brother, as I shared with you guys on the Thanksgiving episode, my brother had heart transplant this year. So the last few years, he's been having a lot of trouble with his heart. And I was born with aortic stenosis. So I already had something that was going on with my heart. I have the mechanical valve like I talked about. So I'm thinking, oh geez, what is happening with my heart? I go to the doctor. Doctor has me go to a cardiologist. They run all these tests. Everything comes back fine. I go and I see a pulmonologist. I go and I see this doctor, that doctor, all over the place, guys. And eventually my cousin introduces me to her doctor, who is a functional doctor. And he kind of works outside of the spectrum of conventional medicine. And as much as I am an advocate for conventional medicine, believe me, it's conventional medicine that has saved my life, that gave me the mechanical valve I have, that saved my brother's life. I would be naive to think that there aren't other things out there that can help. So my cousin introduces me to this doctor, and he runs a bunch of blood tests that my regular doctors weren't running. And he tells me, listen, a lot of what you're having sounds like it could be long COVID. And at first I'm in denial. Well, I had COVID back in 2020. That doesn't make any sense. How could I possibly have the effects now? But as I've come to find out, long COVID can lay dormant for a long time and come back. So last year I started this medication regimen. I was out of work for almost a month. I was in the hospital for a couple of days. I was in and out of the ER. There were days where I couldn't get out of bed at all. There were days when Cynthia, guys, this is personal, but I'm going to be 100% straight up. There were days when Cynthia would have to help me use the bathroom because I could not get out of bed. It was hell. It was absolute hell. I started a medication that was prescribed by the functional doctor, and about a month later, symptoms went away. I was able to go back to work, and I lived my life, and everything was fine. 14 months later, this past October, same thing happens. I am working, everything's going great. This is after my brother had his transplant. He's on the road to recovery. I've been in the best shape of my life. A couple of years ago, I was 220 pounds. I was down to 180 pounds. We can talk about my body transformation and my philosophy on that at some point. But the point is, again, out of nowhere, boom. This past October, it strikes again. And I've been out of work since the middle of October. Now, my job has been absolutely amazing. I work for a sales company, and they have been absolutely amazing. They've been accommodating. My direct supervisor was so supportive and so awesome. And the HR department has been great. They've been really willing to work with me, but I've been out on short-term disability. And again, it's been the same thing, guys. Doctor's appointments, every test under the sun. I've been to the ER. I've been hospitalized. I've had CAT scans. I've had ultrasounds. I've had echocardiograms. I've cost the insurance more money than I'll make in 10 years, guys. And no one can give me a definitive answer. And that's the part that really is the most troubling and the hardest. And that's why when I'm looking at what the CDC, easy for me to say, says here about the isolating feeling. Guys, I sat in the ER and my brother was there, Matt, my wife, Cynthia, was there. And as the doctor is telling me, hey, there's nothing, guys. We don't have any answers. There's nothing, Brian, showing up really. I started crying. I could not take it anymore, guys, because I was so tired of feeling like I was on death's door, and yet they can't find anything. And it's the same thing now. It's the same thing. I'm at this point where, thank God, the symptoms have started to go away. And if all goes well, I should be back at work really soon. Don't worry, I'm still going to be doing this podcast because this community we're building is my number one priority. But guys, it is so lonely. It is so frustrating. And I have friends and family who are so supportive and so amazing. And my friends, oh, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I have one friend who, as I was recording this, is blowing up my phone about different things because he cares so much. But nobody has answers. No one can figure anything out. And I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if it's going to come back tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be gone for a year like it was this past time. Or maybe it'll never come back again if I'm lucky. That's the problem with long COVID, is you just don't know. But for me, I get horrible heart palpitations. I get dizzy. I can't get out of bed. My blood pressure goes through the roof. I have frequent urination and trips to the bathroom. Dehydration. I get brain fog sometimes from it, guys. And when you already have ADD, getting brain fog on top of the ADD is super challenging because I get really excited about something and completely forget what I was excited about. So that sucks. But I want to share this with you guys. Like I said, this is meant to educate and it's meant to inspire. And the inspirational part is this. I could sit here, I could cry every night, guys. I could think every night is the end and this is it. It's the big one, Elizabeth. Or conversely, I could take the time that I'm out of work. I could take the days when I'm feeling better and I can build a community with you guys. I could get my voice out there. I can follow my dreams of working towards inspiring others. And that's what I'm doing. That's what this podcast is about. Yeah, it's going to be a fun thing where later on in this episode alone, I am going to get into a very heated argument with my brother about Die Hard and how Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Spoiler alert. But this is allowing me the platform. I can lay in bed, I can cry, and I can wait for something to come and hit me. Or I can hit life back just as hard and I can say, screw this. I'm going to pick myself up and I'm going to live my life. And if there's one thing I want to share with you guys about my journey with long COVID, it's yes, there are going to be times where I'm wiped out. There are going to be times when I'm on my ass. But you can damn sure bet, like Rocky Balboa says, it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. And I am going to win at this. And I encourage you guys, if you're dealing with something, whether it's long COVID, whether it is any kind of physical or mental ailment, keep fighting. Keep on punching. Don't let it define you. Live your dreams, guys. Like I'm going to live mine. We are going to build this community together. It is going to be huge. They said there'd never be a community this big. Many people were surprised how big the community was. All right, I'll stop. I'm sorry. But really, guys, this community is what's keeping me motivated. The love of my family is keeping me motivated. Hold on to those things that keep you going. There are going to be days that suck. There are going to be days when you feel like tapping out. There are going to be days where you just feel like giving up. Keep fighting. Keep moving forward. That's my message about long COVID. Screw you, long COVID. You ain't defining me. Welcome back and welcome to a very, very special part of the episode. I spoke about it earlier. We are going to be reviewing Christmas movies, the top Christmas movies, and I am joined and flanked by a man that I've mentioned several times on this podcast.
You poor people.
My brother, Matt. Matt, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, here's how this is going to work, guys. I went online and I asked AI to give me their top 10 Christmas movies. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I hate this list. This list sucks. There are some similarities to my list, but it sucks, and you'll know why it sucks at the end. But we're going to go through the AI list, then Matt and I are going to give our list of top 10 Christmas movies. Now, to be specific, these are not necessarily our favorite movies. What these are movies that, to us, resonate with Christmas. They're synonymous with Christmas, correct?
Yeah, and with, the history of Christmas specials. Also, to be perfectly clear, these are actual movies. These are not like your half-hour specials, like your Rankin Basses and things of that nature. Your Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty and stuff. That's going to be on a separate list that we're going to do. This is just actual feature-length movies about Christmas.
So there you go. There's the rules of this. There's going to be some lively debate, I can tell you already, because I know it's going to be on his list, and I know it's on the AI list. And the AI list, frankly, the top one can kiss my butt. All right.
Not mine.
So for AI, I asked it very simply. I said, in descending order, give me your top 10 Christmas movies.
Now, which AI program did you use?
I'd rather not say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But... it's it's one of the more common ones.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Number 10, The Santa Claus, 1994, with Tim Allen. This is on my list also.
Mine as well.
Not at number 10, but it is on my list. I think that's a fair one. Number 9, AI has National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I'm not a Chevy Chase guy personally. I guess, yeah, in fairness, it kind of, it can be synonymous with Christmas. It's just not my cup of tea.
I don't even have it on my list. I probably should on my personal list, but again, I'm not a huge fan of Chevy Chase either, except certain roles, and not really this movie. So, yeah.
Alrighty. Number 8, Home Alone 2. I love Home Alone 2. I think comparatively speaking to anything in the series past Home Alone 2, it's Citizen
garbage.
Kane. No.
I thought you meant stuff past.
No.
Home
What I'm
Alone
saying
2.
is compared to anything past.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
But Home Alone 2 is not on my list at all.
No, the first one absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, the first one's on my list also. Number 7, we have Elf. So, side story about this. Matt, my dad, and a good friend of mine go to see The Matrix. Or maybe it might have been the second Matrix at the time. I don't recall. It was 2003. Could have been the third Matrix for all I know.
It would have been the second or third. I think the third.
Which is essentially what I just said, the
Yes.
second or the third one. But I opted to go with my, at the time, girlfriend and my mom to go see Elf. And I know a lot of people love Elf. A lot of people love Will Ferrell.
Nope.
Not in that list. Matt and I are very similar in a lot of our tastes. As we get further through this list, you'll see where they differ, I think everybody can kind of, if you're a real Christmas movie buff, you know what the point of contention is going to be. But yeah, Elf, I went and saw that, and Matt, you guys saw Matrix, and 21 years later, you've watched Matrix 2 or 3 how many times now?
Oh God, more times than I can count. I actually love the Matrix sequels, but that's just me.
And I've seen Elf once in the theaters, and that was more than enough. And suffice to say, that relationship didn't last. I'm not saying it's
Will Ferrell?
I'm not saying it's Will Ferrell's fault, but, you know, it's Will Ferrell's fault. Number 6... it's an all-time classic. Again, you're going to call me boring. You're going to call Matt boring. It is on my list, but I'm not a particularly huge fan of it. A Christmas Story.
Okay, so the thing about A Christmas Story is, when I was a kid, A Christmas Story was great. Then TNT started their 24 hours of A Christmas Story, and it just killed it for me.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore. It's like that darn Mariah Carey song. The first time you hear it, the Christmas one, you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty decent. The 5 billionth time you've heard it, you're like, oh, shut up already.
Yep. No, I would agree. And Christmas Story, same thing. The 24 hours of Christmas Story is just excessive. Number 5 on the AI list is Home Alone. I 100% have no problem with this.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with it either. The first Home Alone, it's on my list. It's a classic. You know, when it came out, I remember, I was that age when it came out to be vicariously through Kevin. So it was just amazing.
Yeah, and we've grown up with it. I grew up with it my entire life. We watch it with my daughter every year. So it's a staple in our home. Number 4, The Polar Express. So I actually went last year on my anniversary with my wife. They were showing it at a theater. We got discounted tickets, which was awesome. And, you know, nothing says spending your anniversary with your wife like discounted movie tickets.
And a kid's movie.
Nah, The Polar Express is a Christmas movie. It's not a kid's movie. No, I don't know.
I'll be honest, I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
I've never seen it. I have no interest in seeing it. It just does not look like my thing.
It's fun. First of all, it's Robert Zemeckis.
I know. If I was going Back to the Future, I'd worry about it.
But it is it's a great movie. The song is absolutely fantastic. The score, everyone knows it. Even if you don't know the Polar Express, even if you don't know it comes from the Polar Express, when you hear the score, you know it automatically.
I do?
I would guarantee you do.
Oh, okay.
I would guarantee, and we'll test that later.
Okay. Well, now I know it's coming, so...
Yeah, but the point is, you're going to recognize
I'm going to recognize
you won't
it.
recognize the score.
Gotcha.
Regardless of whether you know it's from Polar Express.
Right,
See,
okay.
You gotta listen for these things, Matt.
I'm sorry.
Number 3 is the definitive Christmas movie on the AI list, and this is, again, a point of contention that Matt and I are going to have. But at number 3 for AI, they have It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, let me clear something up. I personally do view It's a Wonderful Life as a Christmas movie. It's on my list. However, the arguments you have against the movie I'm going to say and the movie that's number 1 on this list is where I come in with that argument for you. But otherwise, I love It's a Wonderful Life. It's on my personal... It's on both my personal and my top 10 list.
Absolutely. And guys, when we talk about mental health and we talk about feelings of depression, suicidal ideation, things like that. I know this is a Christmas segment. It's supposed to be fun.
God, you're such a downer.
Yeah, well, but this was a movie that at the time was touching on these subjects that were very, very taboo. Now, yes, they put heaven into it and angels, so you could make an argument that they took it from a religious standpoint, although I don't think they go overbearing with religion.
I don't think it's religious. I just think it's part of the story.
Yeah, but this was something that you got to remember, guys. This came out in 1944, 45, sometime around there. I'll put up whatever the actual date is in post so that you guys can see the actual year that it came out. I think it was 44, sometime between 44 and 46. So mental health struggles was not something that they really talked about.
No.
So this was something that was really kind of groundbreaking. And to me, I'll be the first to admit it. I'll let you guys in on a spoiler. This is number 1 on my list. It is not only my favorite Christmas movie, but it's also one of my favorite movies of all time. I cry every year. Doesn't matter how many times I've seen it. Going back to your thing about Mariah Carey's song, going back to 24 Hours of a Christmas Story. If they did 24 Hours of It's a Wonderful Life, Matt would want to jump off the bridge like George was ready to do, and I would be crying at the end every single time.
He just wouldn't stop, you know.
That's true.
Kind of like when the Bills play at this point.
Number 2 on the AI list. And this is another thing that's going to make me cry just because it's very, very...
Ugh.
No. It's just a no from me. How the Grinch Stole Christmas 2000. The year 2000 with Jim Carrey, which is by far, in my opinion, the worst rendition of How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jim Carrey in certain things. I think he was good for what he was given in the movie, but the way they expanded it, I felt didn't work.
You don't think that there should have been a love story between the Grinch and Cindy Lou Who's mom?
No. No, I think the Grinch should have been what the Grinch was, which was a miserable Grinch.
Well, hold on a second. There are other movies coming out right now, as we speak, where green people are being ostracized solely because they're green people. And that's exactly what happens in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, at least according to the Jim Carrey version. So maybe it was just ahead of its time.
Well, maybe, except for if that's the case, then why does Christmas suddenly solve racism?
Because I believe that Santa Claus can cure everything. And that's coming from a Jewish guy, guys. Now, number 1 on the AI list, and we beat around the bush, and this is going to be on...
Die Hard!
It's Die Hard. AI, artificial intelligence...
Real intelligence!
Obviously lacking on the key term intelligence here. Alright, we might as well get this done and over with. This is what I teased in the opening segment of the podcast. Anyone who looked at the very, very creative, I'm going to say, picture and read the post that I put up to promote this segment, you guys knew we were going to talk about Die Hard. And I'm going to ask you guys up front. There are 2 schools of thought here. I want to know where you stand. There are those who believe Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Which are correct.
You already ruined my joke now, because I was going to say, and then there are those who are wrong.
I know, I wanted to get it in first.
Yeah. Well, point being, Die Hard is one of my favorite movies. I love Die Hard. Die Hard is an awesome action movie.
It is a Christmas action movie.
Die Hard is an action movie that takes place at Christmas.
And It's a Wonderful Life is the story about a man's life with the last 5 minutes happening on Christmas. And then they sing Old Lang Syne, which is a New Year's song.
No.
Yes. 99% of It's a Wonderful Life is all about George Bailey's life and him wishing he was never born. Christmas is not even mentioned once up until the last 5 minutes. Not once. People are praying, but they're not saying, it's Christmas Eve, God, help George Bailey. They're saying, please, God, help George Bailey. No one once mentions Christmas until the very, very end. Whereas Die Hard, from the very beginning, is about him going to reconcile with his wife for a Christmas party at Nakatomi Plaza to reunite with his kids for Christmas.
Okay, so here's why you're wrong.
Oh, okay. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And the reason you're wrong is Christmas movies, you look at the rest of this list, for better or worse, and again, I'm not a fan of Elf. I'm damn sure not a fan of the Jim Carrey How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Christmas movies are about a feeling. It is about the spirit of Christmas. It is not about, ho, 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 now I have a machine gun.
So it's about racism? Like in The Grinch?
No.
It's about a man's life and an evil banker like it is in It's a Wonderful Life.
What happens at the end of those movies, though? The Christmas
What happens
spirit.
what happens at the end of Die Hard? It's snowing.
What happens
snowing
at the end of-
Hold on, let me finish. It's snowing. All the papers and everything. Christmas music is playing. John McClane reunites with his wife and his family.
The movie ends with Carl Winslow shooting a guy.
No, the movie ends with John McClane reuniting with his wife after that.
The point is, you're wrong.
No, I'm correct.
Your argument is null and void because Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
A Christmas
Die
movie...
Hard is a movie that takes place at Christmas.
A Christmas
There's
movie...
There's a distinction, people.
Can I finish, please? A Christmas movie is a movie where Christmas is the center point of it. Christmas is the center point of Die Hard. It is a Christmas party. He's flying out to meet with his family for the holidays and try to re-reconcile with his life. At the end, there's a happy ending celebrating with Christmas music and everything else and a California version of snow falling. Okay? It's a Wonderful Life, again, nothing to do with Christmas. Nothing to do with the feeling of Christmas until the last 2 minutes of the movie. Or maybe 5 minutes of the movie.
Freudian slip, guys. He said reconcile with his life, which
I said
is
wife.
You said life. I can go back and record it and show you. Reconcile with his life, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the premise of It's a Wonderful Life.
So then they're
not
both Christmas
Die Hard.
movies.
Moving on now,
Yeah.
we have...
He lost.
No. Well, all right, guys, I'll tell you what. I will put up a poll, and we will see. And if at the end of the polling period, which we'll put it up, you guys know these drop on Wednesday. So by the time next Wednesday's episode comes out around, depending on the results of that poll, I will either be very, very happy, or I will come out and admit that I was wrong, and Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So we'll find out. I'm going to put the poll up. You guys vote. You guys have my fate in your hands. If you're a fan of the show, if you're a fan of this community.
If you're a fan of Die Hard.
It's not fair. I'm a fan of Die Hard.
Well, then you should admit it's
Everyone's
a Christmas
fan
movie.
of Die Hard. That's not fair. Anyways, moving on now. We have...
Well, are we doing our list now?
Yes, we're going to do our lists.
Okay.
Now, guys, in fairness, some of these are on our lists, so we're not going to take as much time to break them down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go with my number 10, and then I want to hear your number 10, Matt.
Okay.
And I want to just kind of go that way and see where we land on things. I'm sure, guys, full disclosure, Matt and I, we've grown up together. We're 4 years apart, but you could see if you're watching on YouTube, we're twins 4 years apart.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
As I said on the Thanksgiving episode, I just happen to be better looking, funnier, and smarter. But otherwise, we're twins 4 years apart.
Don't forget more successful.
No, how could I forget that? I mean, we have the scattered community, guys, which Matt is now a part of. So welcome, by the way. I should have done that to begin with. All right. So at number 10 for me, a movie that we discussed already that you said you've never seen. Now, again, I want to make this clear. These are not my personal top 10 favorite Christmas movies. These are what I identify as Christmas movies because they carry the spirit of Christmas within them. Got to put that out there.
Uh-huh.
At number 10, I have The Polar Express.
Well, at number 10 is where I put Die Hard. I put Die Hard there without going back into the debate. Okay? I put Die Hard there because in the end, I feel like it is about family. It's also different. It's a different type of movie, but it's a movie that everyone loves no matter what, pretty much. But there is, in my opinion, a strong meaning of Christmas in there.
Okay. All right. Again, time will tell.
Yes, but enough with Die Hard.
My fate is in your guys' hands. Number 9 for me, I have Elf. Again, didn't care for it, but I grew up in the 90s and 2000s. When I think of Christmas movies of the last 20 to 30 years, it's on my list. It's got to be on my list.
And see, I kind of took that same thinking, but instead of saying Elf, I put Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, I know that could also be a Halloween one. It's both, actually. But I feel like within the last 20, 30 years, that has really become one that is super popular. It's about Christmas and everything,
Fair.
So,
yeah, no, that's.
And I don't even like Tim Burton. Like, I'm not, with the exception of Batman and Beetlejuice, I am not a fan of Tim Burton.
I liked Big Fish also, actually, and Edward Scissorhands. Although I do think Edward Scissorhands is a little overrated. That's a conversation for another time, guys. Number 8, what did you have?
For me, number 8, I put the original March of the Wooden Soldiers.
Okay.
So, it's a classic. I grew up watching it with my mom and everything. It's not one of my personal favorites, but I feel like, they used to show it every year on Thanksgiving after the parade and everything. It's very much a Christmas movie, and I feel like even though it's one of the much older ones, it still holds up, and I feel like people still watch it today.
Well, it's funny because our wavelengths are so similar, but just in different order. So at number 8, a movie I grew up watching with my mom. I remember we had the VHS of it. The song is one of the most famous Christmas songs of all time. I have the 1954 classic with Bing Crosby, White Christmas.
Which is funny because my number 7 is White Christmas.
And my number 7 is March of the Wooden Soldiers.
So, you kind of pointed out all the reasons I put it on there already.
Yeah, so we're right there. All right, number 6 for me. This is going to piss people off because I'm sure this is in a lot of people's top 5. Number 6 for me is A Christmas Story.
My number 6 is The Santa Claus. I do have A Christmas Story on my list. But yeah, The Santa Claus, I feel like that it really caught the spirit of who and what Santa is while putting a new cool spin on it. It's funny for both kids and adults. It's one they could both enjoy together. And actually, the first two, had this list been a little longer, I might have actually put Santa Claus 2 on there as well.
That's not the one with Jack Frost.
No, that's the third one.
Okay. Oh, okay. This is the one with the wooden soldier that becomes. That's like the Tim Allen Christmas toy.
Yeah,
that's the second one.
The second, and he has to find a wife.
Right,
and Mrs. Claus.
Yes, that's right, and his son ends up on the naughty list.
Yes.
Okay, I remember now. All right, so number 5 for me is Santa Claus. Guys, I'm sorry. There's a finite number of movies in our house. This might have been better, full disclosure, guys, this might have been better to do with a complete stranger than with someone who's as like-minded
because
as I am.
my number 5 is A Christmas Story.
So, there you go. Okay. And my number 5 is The Santa Claus. Number 4 for me is the original Miracle on 34th Street.
That we have exactly the same.
Number 4,
Miracle on 34th Street, the original.
Okay. So, we actually watched this. My daughter watched it for the first time this year. We sat down. I think it was actually even before we had the Christmas decorations up. It might have been on Thanksgiving. Or sometime very, very close to Thanksgiving. This year we've been really good, guys. Last year, I waited till the last minute. We didn't watch that many Christmas. We kind of steamrolled through at the very last second. This year we've been spreading them out. Every weekend we've been watching some. We watched the Santa Claus already. We watched Mickey Christmas Carol, which is going to be on a separate list.
Scrooged.
For me. We watched Scrooged already. So we're doing better this year. But
we still got to do Die Hard and It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, Brian.
We'll see. Next week, my fate is in your guys' hands.
No, we're still going to watch it no matter what.
I'll watch it because it's a great movie.
Yeah, okay. Anywho.
But number 4, Miracle on 34th Street. It is synonymous with Christmas. It is. You cannot have Christmas without Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah, I mean, if Santa Claus was a great spin on a new Santa, Miracle on 34th Street was the original spin on Santa. It was just amazing. So much stuff came out of that movie that became synonymous with the legend of Santa and things of that nature.
Not to mention from a commercial aspect, being able to get Macy's on board, being able to get Gibbs or
Gables, I think.
Yeah. Well, again,
I can't remember. We're,
yeah.
we're old. We're not that old.
Yeah, so I'll put the actual word up, guys, when it comes up, the actual name of it. And apologies if, anyone ever owned stock in that company. And
You mean the one that's been closed for like 40, 50 years?
well, I don't know what my demographic is for listeners yet. The scattered community is scattered across all demographics.
Okay, fair enough.
I think it's Gibbs or Gibbles or something.
Gibbles or Gables, something like that.
Yeah. Anyways, the point is they actually got these real companies on board, and an interesting story was the script had to be written. They had to see the script before they would allow their names, the names of their companies, to be associated with it, and they were so blown away that both teams decided it was okay. So if Santa Claus can bring them together, to go back to our conversation earlier, and I'm going to get canceled for this and a lot of flack, Santa can cure racism also. All right, it was a nice run of episodes that we had.
Moving on. My number 3, Home Alone, the original. We kind of talked about it already, but when it came out, it was such a phenomenon. That music, John Williams, the master of the movie score. I mean, everything about that movie screams Christmas. It is fun for kids. It is fun for adults. It is nostalgic. It is Christmas to a T. I can't stand Kevin's family, and even he is a brat at sometimes. But I love the movie, and it's one of the most successful movies of all time.
And it has become ageless. It's become timeless. I mean, again, I'm watching it with my daughter now. I grew up with it. It's the same idea as a lot of these movies on this list. They just are ageless. They're timeless. They embody everything that is Christmas.
I'm waiting for your, eventually, long down the road, your kid to have a kid and wonder why Kevin doesn't have a cell phone that they can just call him on.
Yeah, exactly.
Or check the house cameras,
Exactly. Well, I think they did have home security back then.
They did have home security, but not like that.
And the McAllisters were wealthy enough that you would have thought they would have had that. That's just another example of carelessness from the McAllisters.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
For me, number 3, though, is Scrooge. Now, I want to make something clear. I love A Christmas Carol. Charles Dickens classic. There's about 4 or 5 different versions of this that I absolutely love. I love A Muppet Christmas Carol, first of all, with guys, the brain fog from the
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine, thank you. The guy, it's the brain fog, guys, from the long COVID. Sometimes it hits me. So, I love A Muppet Christmas Carol with Michael Caine. I love the George C. Scott Christmas
That's
Carol.
my personal favorite. It's the George C. Scott version.
Okay. I love... So, TNT, back... for all your flack you gave TNT about...
24 Hours of a
Christmas Story. They had a Christmas Carol with Sir Patrick Stewart.
And you can't go wrong with Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah, listen. Jean-Luc Picard, he's great. I was just watching Patrick Stewart in an episode of Frasier. I mean, the guy is so versatile. Everything he does is fantastic. And I think that is a great, great version. But the version I put on my list, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the version on your list as well.
Yes.
Is the 1951 version with Alistair Sims.
Yep, absolutely.
And the reason I have this on here is, yes, there were Christmas Carol movies prior to this. Or Scrooge movies, whatever you want to call it. There were versions of this beforehand. But Alistair Sims encompasses, when you look at his face, when you look at his mannerisms, when you look at the settings, everything about it is right off the pages of Dickens' novel. And to me, there's nothing that, when I think of Ebenezer Scrooge, unless I'm thinking of Uncle Scrooge from...
Well, that's the Scrooge McDuck, not Ebenezer.
That's true. And more on him later. But when I think of Ebenezer Scrooge, I think of Alistair Sims, and that's why to me this is the definitive Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go into it a little more in a bit, but I will say that, unlike some other Scrooges, he can speak with an English accent.
Okay, all right, a little Robin Hood Men in Tights reference there for
Why
anyone
not?
who caught that. Number 2 for me, we've beat it to death. Home Alone. Again, for me, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know we said it was supposed to be definitive Christmas list. It wasn't supposed to be necessarily our favorites. I look at the sparkle in my daughter's eyes when she watches it. We've kind of beaten this to death, but it's the same sparkle I had as a kid. It's the same sparkle Matt had as a kid. It speaks to everyone at that age, and to me, it will remain. Macaulay Culkin now is really embraced it. He's actually doing a live watch along in New Jersey that
Really?
yeah, I would love to go to. I'm not going to it, guys. I'd love to go do it. I'm sure he's doing it in more than just Jersey. Why the hell he would choose Jersey over anything else beyond me?
They paid him.
Shout out to Jersey. I lived there for most of my life. To me, it is right there with, I might as well just go right to it. My number 1, you guys already know, It's a Wonderful Life. I beat that to death.
So number 2 for me was It's a Wonderful Life. For all the reasons, even though I made jokes, not jokes, but statements about it, in defense of Die Hard, I love it. And my number 1 was the Alistair Sims A Christmas Carol, because I feel like that encompasses everything that we have talked about for Christmas movies and stuff. His performance, the use of the effects that they had at the time and things of that nature. And something about the black and white adds to the story.
I would agree. And that's why I think a lot of people, especially nowadays, my daughter included in this, I have some friends who feel this way too. They automatically disqualify something if it's in black and white.
Which is terrible. Some of the best movies are in black and white.
Absolutely. And as a movie buff, although maybe not as much as I used to be, I reject that notion wholeheartedly. But to disqualify something simply because it's in black and white is ridiculous. But all right, guys. So that was major motion pictures that we're looking at. We were not looking at specials, so to speak. Now, every year growing up, there's also, and there's not as many on TV now because streaming services have proprietary rights to them. Looking at you, Apple TV. But there are certain specials, half hour, 40-minute, 20-minute specials that scream Christmas. So Matt and I did not go to AI for this one, guys. This is just going to be Matt and I. And again, I'm going to come out and say it, full disclosure, I have a sneaky suspicion. Matt and I have not gone over this at all, but I have a sneaky suspicion that our lists are fairly similar.
Well, I would say anyone's list for these would be similar. I mean, there's only X amount of half-hour Christmas specials.
Well,
and we're only doing top 5 for the Christmas specials as opposed to top 10.
True.
So I think the ones we're going to state are going to be pretty much in most people's top 5s.
And if they're not, guys, let us know.
Yeah,
Seriously,
absolutely.
Let us know.
In a nice way, please,
Yeah, I mean, let's keep this civil, but, either comment on this or, again, Brian Fink scattered at outlook.com. Shoot me an email with your list. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to correspond with you guys. So here's my top 5 Christmas specials. I alluded to this one already. Number 5 for me is Mickey's Christmas Carol. We grew up with this. Now, we didn't have Disney Channel growing up. But around Christmas time, they would do it twice a year. You would get kind of like a free weekend to try to entice kids to really bother their parents to make them order Disney Channel.
Basically, it was a weekend-long commercial.
It was. But part of that commercial was Mickey's Christmas Carol. And you have Mickey Mouse as Bob Cratchit.
Scrooge McDuck as Ebenezer.
Yeah, Donald as nephew Fred.
Goofy as Jacob Marley.
You had Jiminy Cricket as the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Pete as the Ghost of Christmas Future.
All
right, we don't have to go through the whole cast. They can IMDb it if they want.
Okay, true. IMDb it if you want. Suffice it to say, it holds a special place in my heart. I love it. First of all, I love those old Disney characters. I think Disney, for better or for worse nowadays, and this is a topic, guys, that we can go into in much greater detail on a not so jolly and festive episode. For better or worse, Disney's practices may not align with what it was back here. But to me, this is just, it's such a great kids' version of A Christmas Carol. And I do want to give a special shout out, unless it's on your list, in which case I apologize for stealing your thunder. There is another cartoon version of this that I wanted to give special shout out to.
No, because again, I thought we were doing the best, not our personal favorites.
Well, I guess that's true. So maybe I was wrong on that one. But shout out to Mr. Magoo's Christmas also, as someone else who can't see 5 feet in front of him. I feel your pain, sir.
Yeah, so, this is one that I watched it as a kid. It's not one I watched so much as an adult. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, guys. It's my number 5. It's not one of my personal favorites, but, those Rankin Bass specials have really, over the test of time stood out, and people remember them fondly, and we did get, I'm Mr. Heat Miser, I'm Mr. Sun. What?
I'm Mr. White Christmas, I'm Mr. Snow.
I thought there was also Heat Miser's song, too. Heat Miser has a part of that, too, right?
Yeah, I know. I was just singing along with you.
Oh.
In a combative manner.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So you gotta listen for these things, Lou.
Anywho, so Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Who knew Santa needed an origin story?
Everyone needs an origin story.
Well, that's true.
Sometimes you need 7 of them if you're a comic book movie. Any comic book movie.
Or if you're a villain. So I heard the Abominable Snow Beast from Rudolph is getting an origin story about how he hurt his tooth.
Oh, yeah, see, in that one, I bet you Yukon Cornelius is the heel.
Exactly. He's the bad guy.
Number 4 for me, I shouted out at Apple already, or shouted at Apple, I should say. Charlie Brown Christmas. Again, you want to talk about a song that is synonymous with Christmas? Schroeder playing on the piano. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Every episode, I promise you guys, I won't sing. Every episode I sing. I'm sorry. But I love that. That is, to me, I think of that. I think of all the parodies of that. Scrubs.
Oh, God, I love it.
There's to me, Charlie Brown's Christmas is one of the best specials ever.
So my number 4 is Rudolph, going back to the Abominable Snow Beast. Just the story, the heart, the fact that Santa in it is a complete and utter dick through the entire movie until he needs Rudolph at the end. And then when he needs Rudolph, suddenly it's okay that Rudolph has a red nose.
Then how is it such a great Christmas thing if Santa's a heel?
Because Santa learns his lesson. See, this is how Santa learned to solve racism for the Grinch.
All right. So, speaking of the Grinch, that's my number 3, the real one from the 60s with Boris Karloff. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The 25-minute animated special as it was intended, right out of the pages of Dr. Seuss. It's amazing. The song is, again, you're going to notice a theme with my list that all of these, in the exception of the first one, the Mickey's Christmas Carol, all of these have a Christmas song that you think of. And, How the Grinch Stole Christmas is no different. It's one of the most famous pieces of literature, children's literature, Christmas literature, any literature you want. It's one of the most famous pieces of literature, one of the most famous songs of all time. And
to not have it would be a crime.
I guess that was a rhyme there.
Well, I thought it was time.
It's time for your number 2, Matt, or your number 3. I don't know where we are.
We're at number 3. My number 3, speaking of Christmas songs, is Frosty, the original Frosty. You know, I mean, how can you go wrong with a magician trying to steal a magic hat? You know, happy birthday! I swear that wasn't rehearsed. But yeah, I mean, Frosty, you got the little girl and the cop who swallows the whistle, seeing a walking snowman. You know, in reality, he probably would have reached for his flask and poured it out.
Messy, messy, messy.
But yeah, I mean, the rabbit, I love Frosty.
I love Frosty also. You know, the spirit of Frosty, this was my number 2. The spirit of Frosty, the song, I was never great at building snowmen, so Anna, sorry, I don't want to build a snowman with you, because I'd be no good at it. But I love Frosty. I think he's just a jolly, happy soul, and what's not to love about him?
Yeah, my number 2, I mean, is the Karloff Grinch, which we already kind of talked about. You know, so there's really no need to get into that.
My number 1 is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I was just having a conversation with my father. I have to fact check this, so if this is wrong, guys, let me know, and maybe direct your hate mail towards my dad this time.
No, he doesn't deserve that.
But I'm not going to give out his email. Apparently,
not that he checks it.
Yeah, not that he checks it. This, originally, Rudolph was created by some kind of copyright clerk who just
I've heard that story, actually.
Just needed something for a magazine to send out to a bunch of people, came up with the character. It took off like crazy, and then once Rankin Bass got involved, the song came out, and all of that,
and it went down in history.
Oh, God. You know what? I don't know if I'm inviting you back.
Hey, look, you know what you get when it's me. I'm the Punisher.
What's your number 1?
Charlie Brown. So I feel like
okay. Interesting.
Charlie Brown. First off, it may not have been the first, but it was definitely the definitive half-hour Christmas special. It basically launched Peanuts into another stratosphere, which literally lasted till the day Charles Schultz died. It launched a whole ton of other holiday specials, plus cartoons, merchandise, a Broadway show, everything else. I mean, Charlie Brown, the whole thing. You want to talk about someone who has to learn the spirit of Christmas and everything. Not Charlie Brown, those other kids. You know,
well,
and
Linus does a good job.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Linus's speech, I'm not religious, I'm not Christian or anything like that. I don't practice any religion, but that speech is beautiful. I like Dr. Cox's rendition also.
Check out, guys, if you're a
free
fan,
plug.
Yeah, if you're a fan at all of Scrubs, check out the Scrubs version. It's on YouTube. Just look up like Scrubs Charlie Brown Christmas. It's worth the 20 minutes. It's hysterical.
It's really like 5 minutes, but so yeah, I mean Charlie Brown again, the music, anything with Snoopy. So yeah, that's my Charlie Brown number 1.
So I know we left a lot off the list, guys. There's a lot of the Rankin Bass ones we left off the list. We left Garfield Christmas off the list. We left, again, I gave a little shout out, Mr. Magoo Christmas Carol. We left a bunch of stuff off the list. I want to hear from you guys. We had our top 10 Christmas movies. We had AI's top 10 Christmas movies. We had our top 5 Christmas specials. Guys, Brian Fink Scattered at Outlook.com. You can comment on the page on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Facebook, Instagram. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from the Scattered community. What is your guys' favorite Christmas movie? Maybe it's not a Christmas movie. Maybe we totally screwed something up and there is, a Hanukkah special or a Kwanzaa special or a, hell, anything. Any kind of holiday special. Let's just broaden it to that. Let us know, what is your favorite holiday special? Because if we're broadening it out, as we get closer to it, I'm a huge fan of Rugrats Passover.
Yeah, we got months for that. And let's not forget to go on and vote for whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Guys, John McClane and I are counting on you. Reginald Vell Johnson has said it's a Christmas movie. You know, there are memes out there that say it's not Christmas till I see Hans Gruber fall from Nakatomi Plaza.
Well, if there are memes out there, it's got to be true, guys. Who am I to argue with a meme?
Well, who are you to argue with the internet? The internet's undefeated. It never loses.
Yeah, tell me about it. All right. Well, I was hoping we would have forgotten about that. But yeah, I'll put the poll up. You guys let me know. Matt, before I let you go, little pop quiz here. Or not pop quiz, but putting you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
So there's one other thing that has completely been erased, it seems, from nowadays when it comes to the holidays, and that's the Christmas commercial or the holiday commercial. So the only one that I ever see anymore is the Hershey Kiss one.
Right.
And that one seems to have lasted the test of time. But we grew up in the 80s and 90s when these Christmas commercials were at their
everywhere.
Peak. They were at their peak. So Matt did not know this was coming. This is completely putting him on the spot. I want to know, you think of Christmas commercial. What do you think of?
All right, so there's two or three. There's three I really think of. Okay, one, I'm not sure if it completely counts as Christmas, but it's the Campbell's Soup commercial where the snowman comes inside and sitting there in front of the bowl with the Campbell's tomato soup, and slowly the snow melts away and you see a little kid and he's enjoying his tomato soup. Now, I'm not sure that's really Christmas as opposed to winter, but that's up there. Two, the Fruity Pebbles Flintstones commercial. Google it or YouTube it if you don't know what I'm talking about. But basically, you know, it's Christmas Eve and...
I'm hungry.
Right, and Barney is going to try to steal Fred's cereal. Why, I don't know. He could just ask Fred. It's not like tricks or anything. But anyway, that one. And then one is the McDonald's commercial where the little girl is running away from home and she wants to go to McDonald's land and it's Christmas time. There's snow everywhere. And Ronald convinces her to go back home and everything.
That's a great one. That one, some of those old McDonald's ones, guys, you know, Ronald McDonald back
in the day,
in the 80s and 90s, was a cultural phenomenon. He was an absolute cultural phenomenon. So yeah, that's definitely on mine. So is the Fruity Pebbles one. There is one, though, that I think you may have forgotten and you're going to kick yourself for. And that is the Honey Nut Cheerios commercial.
Oh, Mr. Scrooge!
That, to me, is right up there. I get it with the Campbell's Soup one, and believe me, I consider that a Christmas commercial also. Because
Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge!
Yes.
Bah! Humbug! Better things to do.
I say, did you say honey and nuts?
And then they sing that song, which I don't know the words to, so I'm not going to try to sing it.
Nobody can say no, to honey.
Yeah, but I can't hit those notes, so I wasn't going to sing it.
That's why I didn't sing it with that. I spared you guys this time. Remember that when you go to the poll.
All right, Bryce, so I got one for you. I'm going to put you on the spot in.
Okay.
So it's also something they don't do anymore, but the Christmas special of TV shows.
Oh, okay.
So there are a million before the last several years of Christmas specials. Everything from Full House had one, ER had one, Buffy the Vampire Slayer had one.
There's been so many.
So what are some of your favorites? Let's do top three.
Oh, God.
I put him on the spot here now.
This is really putting me on the spot because there's so many out there. I don't know. I don't think I could do it.
All right. Well, one for me is The Simpsons. The first one, where they get Santa's little helper and everything.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a great one.
Personal favorite of mine is the Buffy one. I just love that where Angel's being tortured and everything by the first and trying to get him to kill
Christmas,
himself.
Guys.
No, but it's Christmas, and then Buffy talks him down because he's going to kill himself, and it starts snowing and everything, and they're walking through the town.
I do remember that.
Yeah, now. With the snow and everything and Christmas.
I do remember that.
There's the joke about angels on top when it comes to the Christmas tree. So that's one, and then my number 3 favorite is I'm trying to think. I had it and now I can't remember it. The Boy Meets World one, where Corey and Sean are unknowingly working for a couple of gangsters running errands because Sean's trying to get Sean's trying to earn money. So
that's a great episode.
Yeah. Those are ones that kind of top out. There are a million more that I love and I can watch.
I it's funny. I had thought about this, but I can't. One that comes to mind is Batman the Animated Series.
Of course. Wow, that line. The one line that always just personifies Batman is when they're talking about It's a Wonderful Life and Batman goes, I can never get through the title. Yeah,
which is the personification of Batman.
Right.
So, that comes to mind. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know.
There's the real Ghostbusters episode where they somehow end up back in time and bust the ghosts of past, present, and future.
I remember that one. Yeah, I feel like you put a lot more thought into this than I did.
No, I just know these things
because I can't think of them off the top of my head. But all right, well, guys, thank you for joining us on this part. I want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. Brian Fink Scattered at Outlook.com. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music. Leave your comments. I'm going to put the post up on Facebook. I'm going to put it up on Instagram. I don't know how to do it on TikTok. But let us know. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And if it is, then next week I'll come out and admit I was...
Just say it.
I was wrong. But I'm not.
While wearing my Christmas party at Nakatomi, I survived the Christmas party at Nakatomi Plaza shirt.
I'll do it, okay? I will do it as a special thing. It'll be a special post independent of the Scattered podcast. So, there's more to come on this podcast, but Matt, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I hope to come back again.
Yeah, if you guys liked this, if you like the banter between Matt and I, let me know also. I'd love to have Matt on for many other things. I'm going to try to have as many people on as I can. As much as I love to hear myself talk, I think sometimes you guys probably get bored of just my thoughts and my opinions. And again, I can't preach the word community without having a community be a part of this. So, coming up next, we're going to switch to the second part of my interview with Cynthia, my wife. We're going to talk some more about her life with cerebral palsy. We're going to talk some more about motherhood and some of the obstacles she's faced, but how she's overcome those obstacles and those adversities. So get ready. We're going to listen to that right now. You mentioned your mom as your biggest support when you were down in Guyana. How was that transition when you came up here?
Very, very hard because I did not want to leave at all, like literally at all. Or because Guyana was my home, and the reason why I moved up here is because of the educational, I wasn't going to school at all when I came before I came up here when I was 9, I used to had a home tutor come and tutor me, but it wasn't like how Samantha learning her math, her division and stuff like that. When I was 8 years old to 9, I think, and before I came up here. So yeah.
Okay, so you had your supports. The schooling was different. It sounds like. How was that? How was that adapting to school? The transition from Guyana being homeschooled to now you come up to America to the United States rather, and you're in public school and you're kind of just thrust in there. What was that experience like for you?
It was fun. It was fun. But at the same time, I did not had. I had fun, but I did not have like best friend type of thing.
Did you find it hard to make friends?
When I first came up, yes. But in middle school to high school, no.
Okay, so then that kind of leads into my next thought about this as we're kind of progressing through is other kids, as we know, guys, we've all been kids before. I was teased, I'll be very honest, I was teased mercilessly. I was called everything from Stinky Finky to Crying Brian. There were so many different names and things thrown at me. Did you experience any kind of bullying, especially with the cerebral palsy? Did you find that people would pick on you, people would make assumptions about you when you were in school and when you were growing up?
Assumption, yes. Picking on me, no. Because when I had friends that will protect me when I was in middle school and in high school. So no.
Okay, but you did say there that assumptions were made.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate a little bit on that? What kind of assumptions were made?
Like, why is she talking like that? Or why is her body move like that? Type of thing.
Okay, so when you say that, when you're saying, people were saying, why is she doing that? Did they were they alluding to something? Were they thinking that you had something other than cerebral palsy, or?
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. But like some people in my middle school used to make fun of me a lot. But like one friend, I had two best friends in middle school and in high school. My two best friends were Jason Toon and Tanu Britton. They were like my best friends. So if they see somebody picking on me or see somebody making fun of me, they would tell them stop. She has a disability. She's not stupid up here. She's not dumb. She's smart. She's knowledgeable.
Right. And I think that's a common misconception that people have. Now, there are times when cerebral palsy can affect cognition. As you kind of alluded to earlier, it can affect people in different ways.
Yeah.
So cerebral palsy can affect cognitively as well as physiologically. But I'm curious, as you got older, so you graduate from high school, you're now you're grown up, you're out of the bubble of schooling. How was it transitioning into work life? Did you have challenges? What kind of limitations, or did you have any limitations based on your disability?
I did not have no limitation, but okay, I used to work at Burlington Coal Factory in South Springfield. So if South Springfield want me to shout out them, I would shout out them. Hi.
Shout out South Plainfield.
So yeah, whenever younger people would come up to the door, I was like a greeter. I was like more like a greeter, like saying stuff like, "Hi, welcome into Burlington Coat Factory. If you need help with anything, we have associates that will gladly help you, or I could help you too." So yeah.
Okay. All right. So walk me through though, and I've experienced this with you before, but walk me through kind of what a day in the life is like when you first of all, what kind of symptomology do you ever feel like you have? And then when you are feeling kind of like your disability is getting the better of you, what does that feel like? Explain that to our listeners who maybe have never seen someone with cerebral palsy or maybe are trying to get a better understanding of how cerebral palsy can affect someone.
Okay, I have multiple and if you notice this, whenever I talk, I have a stutter a lot. Or my body would move different from other people. I cannot look at somebody straight in the eye. I have to look up or either down at them, or sometimes I will have like bad muscle spasms where I can't like I can move, but I have to take my time and do stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely, that makes sense. I mean, I get that completely. How about what is it like for you in terms of physically? Do you ever feel any kind of pain? Are there things that kind of maybe wouldn't affect someone who doesn't have cerebral palsy that affect you a little bit more? You're a little more sensitive to.
Yeah. My body aches a lot in the winter. Especially in my back. Sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. So yeah. Even like my wrist sometimes hurt. My foot hurt. I cannot stand up for more than an hour at a time. So yeah.
Next week, we are going to have the conclusion of the interview with Cindy. I'd like to thank Matt for joining me today, even though I don't agree with his list completely, especially Die Hard, as we went ad nauseum about. Guys, remember, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll admit I'm wrong. But that's going to be up to you. The poll is going to go up. We are going to see. You guys decide. Am I going to come out here next week and tell you all, I told you so, Die Hard's not a Christmas movie? Or are you guys going to vote, even though you're going to be wrong, are you going to vote that Die Hard is a Christmas movie? So look for that right away. Go ahead and vote. Make sure you leave a comment. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Let's also get Spotify going. Let's get Apple Music going. And before I leave, there is something I wanted to share. I kind of teased it last week. I want to let all of you guys know I am working on another project in addition to the Scattered podcast. So I have a huge love for the old pulp comics, the things like Dick Tracy, things of that nature, and I also love the old radio serials. I am going to be presenting to you a new series, a limited series called The Dark Detective. This takes place in the 1940s in the fictitious city of New Rock City, and it is a mystery surrounding New Rock City. It's World War II. There's going to be a lot of excitement. It is my first creative endeavor into radio serials. I cannot wait to bring this to you guys. I'm working on it. It will be out very soon. And I'm going to release the entire first season of that. So be on the lookout. The Dark Detective, New Rock City's greatest private eye, is on the way. I can't wait to share more as I get closer to the release of that. Guys, this has been jam-packed. Thank you so much for joining me on this adventure. Make sure that you, like I said, are liking and subscribing. Let everyone know. Let's get the scattered community moving forward. I can't wait. Next week, we got the conclusion of the interview with Cindy. Plus, we have a whole lot more in store, including I am going to go into great detail about a game that I'm playing right now. It's called Judgment. It is a Yakuza spin-off. I cannot wait to tell you guys about that. We'll talk more sports. We'll talk more wrestling. We will talk about anything and everything. I'm hoping to be going back to work very soon, so I want to be able to tell you guys all about that. Thank you so much for joining. I love you guys, and we'll talk again next week.